Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. And what does this and this have in common? Well, if you've clicked the link, then you already know that we're going to look at the KBB KO of the Perfect Effect mold that was used for PC-16 and repainted for PC-17 to go with Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. Yes, that's a mouthful, and yes, that KO of PC-17 will be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. And indeed, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your humble host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, and have a look for me everywhere across social media. And this, of course, is our KO made by Ku Bian Bao of the Perfect Effect PC-17 upgrade kit for Combiner Wars, or I guess the Takara Transformers Legends? Was it Legends? I think it was Legends. Ultra Magnus. And this makes things just a little bit more G1 accurate. But just how well does the KO hold up? You see, I really am a fan of Perfect Effect. And I'm a fan of Ku Bian Bao, so the meshing of them should bring magic. Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and look at this guy. But before we do that, I just wanted to mention something first.
And this was what I wanted to show everyone, and I've been meaning to do it for a while. This is some artwork, obviously, of Bumblebee that was sent to me by Jacob, and I really appreciate him sending me a drawing of any sort. I've been meaning to give him a shout out for it for some time, but I've kind of forgotten. I apologize for it. In fact, I have a few shout outs that I've been meaning to do. Soundwave NL 1977, Barry Shaw, Kato's Toy Box, Alec Dumag, Teresa De Premio, and the last two, Life of Super Squid and Light Blue Squid. One is a gaming channel, the other is like a personal vlog for a young guy I know who asked me to mention them, so I certainly have. Check them out. And again, a big thanks to Jacob for this artwork. Okay, on to the KBB set.
And so just as a refresher, our story technically starts with this guy, who I purchased back in 2015. And I actually looked at him a long time ago in episode 77 as I was sort of trying to address the characters that were going to be at the time coming out in the Heroes on Cybertron box set. As a matter of fact, in his review, I believe at the end of it I probably showed the entire season 3 cast, or at least what I had to represent them at the time. And we can fast forward from there until very recently when I looked at the War for Cybertron Siege Ultra Magnus in episode 497. And I said basically when this guy came out that, yeah, you know what, Leader I thought was too big for him. I wanted a nice Voyager, but the robot mode was extremely reminiscent and the alt mode was pretty much perfect. Granted, the cab was sort of stylized. I could live with it. And in robot mode, the chest most notably was stylized, along with, say, the forearms. And he has 2 shoulder missiles on each shoulder instead of just 1. But I could look past it because what this guy did right, and well, he did very well. Of course, a lot of people had problems with this dude, especially in terms of his ankles and especially in terms of kind of the weight of him. A lot of people thought he felt light. I didn't particularly have that concern. And enter the Siege. And a lot of people said, hey, this one is a better size, he's chunky, he's bulky, and indeed that is a fantastic figure, very reminiscent of the G1 toy, but not so much the G1 animation. And admittedly, that's only in reference to his robot mode, because his vehicle mode is, as I have said and many have said, very much more RID inspired, and that just doesn't work for me for a version of Ultra Magnus. So I opted not to upgrade my iteration of that character, and I kept this guy, but I still wasn't quite happy because I did want certain aspects to be more G1 with him. Well, enter perfect effect. And I say enter perfect effect because I have the PC-15 and PC-16 that go with Magnus Prime, or Super Jinrai, if you will, to give us kind of a completed Jinrai, or Ginrai, whatever you want to call it. And that PC-16 kind of Optimus-y Jinrai Prime, it was called, mold, was actually repainted twice. Black to go with the kind of, I think it was primitive skateboarding, kind of black and gold repaint of the Titan's Return, Power Master Optimus Prime character, and a white version that was intended to go with this guy. But we didn't just get the cab, we got other things with it. Now I'm not going to go through and belabor all of the things that came with this guy, because this thing will run too long. So we're going to kind of do it now by starting here, just to give you a refresher of what Ultra Magnus looks like kind of out of box. Granted, I do have one thing already done here that I'll talk about as we go through. There are things that we need to do to this base figure to prepare him for the upcoming figure. So we're going to do that now, just so we can kind of like slot and place things as we go. The very first thing to do is to come to the chest and pick it off. The second thing to do would be to come here to the head, and we would open this up. And when we open this up, we would unscrew the head. There's a screw in the back of the head. I will show that more closely in a minute. And we would remove it from the mushroom peg, and then we would screw the two halves of the head back together over a head adapter piece, so that he would end up being headless, like this. And the last thing we would do is come around to the back here, and you will see this red peg right here. And this red peg had a little white piece on it. And we would unscrew the screw from that white piece. I will show you that white piece in a moment. Take it off, and then we can remove this entire cab section. And that leaves us with just this body section. So the very first thing I did was remove this chest plate, and it will be replaced with this. And it certainly does look more G1 accurate, and I will note that it is on a slider. That will be important later on. Next, I mentioned a circular piece with a screw on it. This will have to be removed in order to take the stock cab off. I don't know, put it in a bag when you're done with it, I suppose. And then we come to Magnus's head. You will notice that I'm holding onto a red adapter. This adapter has a little mushroom peg on the bottom of it. It slots into a position on the cab, which we will see, and then that gives Magnus's head movement, up, down, left, right. Also, it fills in the back of his head. No longer do you need to have Minimus Ambus in here as a load bearer. So, in order to remove this head from the stock figure, you unscrew the tab that's in the back, or sorry, the screw that's in the back. The head will come apart into two halves. You will remove it from the mushroom peg that's up in there. You will put it back together. You will screw the head back together with the screw that's right there that you can see. And then the whole head as one piece slots on over this red piece. And then you have a fully intact Ultra Magnus head. And though we do not get a package, we do get these instructions. This is KBB Core Fighter. It is the KO of PC-17. The instructions are alright. They're not perfect. Yes, they're bright. Yes, they're clear for the most part. But I still had to figure a few things out on my own. And for anyone who is interested, he comes with the same Optimus Prime-esque blaster that PC-16 comes with, as well as the outstretched open palm hands. And you can see there by my thumb that really all we have is a peg, and that peg just kind of slots into a little hole in the wrist, and that's how you attach the hands. If you don't want the ones that are balled up into a fist, you can use these instead. And because I got this from SirToys.com, I of course received a little bonus in the package, which is this terribly colored Bumblebee. Now the funny part is he's red and blue and gray, which really kind of matches Ultra Magnus, so I'll probably use him sort of as a drone. And a lot of people know this mold for Bumblebee. Now fun fact, I actually ordered this guy at the end of January. And of course there was a delay because of things like Chinese New Year. But the first one that was sent actually got lost in the mail. When I was checking the tracking code, it got to a point where it said, hey, the item has left the originating country and is en route to Canada, and it never updated after. In fact, as of this recording today, it still has never updated. And to their credit, Sir Toys did the right thing by me. They were very patient because I was very concerned about the lost item. They were really patient with me. Excellent customer service, excellent communication. Offered me either a refund or to resend the item. I really wanted this upgrade kit, and luckily it was resent and it arrived here safe and sound. So you know what, not just a credit to getting my order, but a credit to the company for really kind of doing right when something went wrong. Really appreciated. And of course we always get these little things, and like, it's not, normally this isn't that bad of a mold, but the KO is pretty terrible. For Bumblebee, it is 0 for paint apps. For posability, it's a 0. And for transformation, it's 0. This is awful. I'm gonna try and show you the transformation before we go on. So the arms pull out from the side, and then this piece flips down and the arms come forward. And we split the legs. Now normally you're supposed to be able to extend the legs, but as you can see in this case, the leg is attached at the hip, but like there's no mechanism to pull it down. He is basically attached from his knee down. For what the actual mold should be, this guy's sort of attached from the knee down. I mean, it's cool to have it. I'm gonna keep it with Magnus. It'll be a little Magnus drone, you know. But yeah, sometimes a KO is a good thing. Sometimes it's just not. Speaking of a good KO, that brings us to our bot of the hour, bot with the power. And I'll tell you this now, I had kind of high hopes for this. I am a big fan of Perfect Effect products. I mean, I've got, like I said, PC-15 and PC-16. I've gotten like the Devastator upgrade. I've gotten the reflector set from a long time ago. I think that's been KO'd and upsized as well, but I love Scouting Force. I think to this day it's still a fantastic reflector set, but that's another story. This is, I guess a mold that I know because of PC-15, so I had high hopes for PC-17. In the aftermarket, it tended to be relatively expensive, and I sort of had to kind of plan to save to get it. Then I found out about KBB doing this. And I like KBB products, although admittedly I only own one. I've reviewed several, but I own only one, and that is my AOE Nemesis Prime. And honestly, I think that the KBB version is an improvement over the original. So because I like Perfect Effect, because I like KBB, I figured the fusion of both of them would yield something that I really enjoy. And in fact, in truck mode here, I do really enjoy it. It rolls tremendously well. We have nice paint on the windows. We have a beautiful, lush, red bumper. That is, as best as I can tell, all paint. It looks fantastic. Even back here we have the taillights painted. The little, I don't know what you call it, engine-y pieces on the side here, painted great. Now, that being said, in truck mode, just like with the PC-16, we have like a hole here and we have a hole up here. You could very easily take the blaster and put it back right here in this hole, or put it up here in this hole. Now, I'll say this. Let's take this one back here for that one. Maybe not that one. This one. I'll say this. Putting the blaster in those holes is a lot looser on this guy than it is on PC-16. Also, like with PC-16, you can use this peg here now, that's what that white piece was screwed into. There's a little screw hole right there. But now you can use this peg and you can slot it down there like that. And now you have Ultra Magnus all together. I will note this, that every picture I've seen of this set has been with the Takara version of Ultra Magnus, the one with the red thighs. The, what was it? Was it Legends? Maybe it was Legends. I'm not sure. Version of Ultra Magnus with the red thighs. This is the Combiner Wars version, the one that a lot of people know and have. And the white is different here. The white that's on the Combiner Wars version is more of an off-white, like a creamy white. The white that's on at least the KBB KO is a very like stark, bright white. That being said, the version that came out in the Platinum Heroes gift set, I believe that has kind of a stark white on it. So if you have that one or you have the Takara one, the white will probably match better. Does it really bother me? No. Do I really ever really notice it? No. But it's worth noting because I'm sure that it will bother some people. Nevertheless, that's how he looks in truck mode. And like, I don't know, to me this looks about as G1 as you're gonna get. Granted, up right here should be blue with an Autobot symbol. I know, there's still certain stylistic things, you know, we should have blue right here, but generally speaking, I don't think anyone is ever gonna look at this and probably nitpick it as much as I am. And just cause, here we have a side view of the stock cab and the upgraded cab. More of a front view, and come on, is there really any comparison here? Though, admittedly, from the back, on the upgrade, we have that fake chest, and the back of the stock cab does indeed look more truck-ish. Also, since I've mentioned him time and time again, here he is with good old PC-17, and yeah, I mean, they're the same mold. Now you'll notice that on PC-16 I have the grill hidden away because normally I have PC-15 slotted in there, but I have it up right now for a specific reason. But before I get to that, here is a side view, same thing, and a view from the back, and as you guessed, that's right, same thing. And just so we're clear here, the actual Perfect Effect version of this mold clocks in at 94 grams, and our KO actually clocks in at 97 grams. Now I looked at PC-16 back in episode 456, and I scored it well, very well. In fact, for the paint apps, I said it was a 9.75. Well, I also done that guy going from robot, because that's the way he came in package, to I think vehicle, and then to his combined mode. We're going to kind of work our way backward here because why not? I haven't shown the conversion going this way. I'm not going to focus too much on it because I focused on it, I think, enough there. I'll reserve giving scores until we get this guy in robot mode. So, how do we convert him? Well, it's really not that hard. A lot easier than you would think. So, we begin by untabbing the bumper. It is tabbed up under the kind of edge of the grill, I suppose you would say. We also come to the side and we fold down that little piece, and we fold down that little piece. And we untab this kind of hip section here. It's really kind of an ab crunch. And then we take the whole thing and turn it around. And what do you know? We have an Optimus-esque head right there. And we straighten that ab section down, and we can even tab it in. It tabs up right here on the sides. And we can take these arms and bring it down on the side of his head, and we have this attached, and bring it down on the side of his head. I'm going to adjust things because this guy's starting to get taller. Okay, and we come to the arm and we bring it down, and then we bring down the elbow. We will rotate the elbow and rotate the arm back and rotate the elbow until we have an elbow bend, and then we take the wrist and we bend it down. I don't know if you heard it there, but that is a nice clicky little ratchet that the wrist is on. Same on the other side. We bring this down, we straighten out the arm, we bring in that arm, we will rotate the elbow around until we have a forward facing elbow. Nice clicky ratchet to bring the wrist down. And that's the upper body finished. Now it's just the lower body left. And I really sort of wanted to focus on this section because I don't think I did justice to it before. We have feet that come forward. So the guy could stand up and look kind of funny because his legs are not extended. We take these parts out. There are little rectangular tabs right there. They go into the back of the legs. I will say this, on the KO, they don't fit as snugly back here as they do on the actual Perfect Effect version. We split the legs and then we extend the legs all the way down, and then we take this piece and we bring it all the way down. There's a little rectangular tab that goes into a hole right here kind of on the heel. We extend the leg down, that goes in, that piece comes down and locks in. The mechanism for moving the legs and for locking in the shins is better on the KO, hands down, than it is on the actual Perfect Effect version, which is saying something because it's pretty good on the Perfect Effect version. And now we have both of the molds next to each other here. Of course, the Jinrai one and the Magnus one. Now the Jinrai one, I said that the color was actually a 9.75. It was really close on perfect. Yes, the smokestack should be on back, but that's about the only imperfection on him. When it comes to Ultra Magnus, like looking at different models of animation for him, again, the smokestack should be out on his shoulders instead of to the side of his chest. But the gray on his legs, on his knees, that seems pretty accurate. The kind of blue highlights on his waist should probably be a yellow or a green. But besides that, you know, the red eyes, the blue faceplate, the little blue up on the crest on his head is all accurate again. I'm gonna say 9.75. As a matter of fact, if we go by, say, what was it, MP2 I think it was, the coloring that's down on the waist that I said by right should probably be green or yellow based on certain animation I've seen, on the MP it is in fact that sort of like greeny tealy color. So I don't know, I guess your mileage will vary a little bit with it because we never saw this smaller version of him on the program. So we kind of only have like figures, maybe some comic artwork, something like that to sort of compare it to. If it's slightly imperfect, I sort of don't care. It fills the bill. So 9.75. Just for an up-close view, there's that beautiful and beautifully painted head sculpt. 9.75 is a very strong start. So you can see here he holds his blaster just fine. By the way, since we're here, we can take that hand off if we want, and we can put that one in its place if you are so inclined, and it works just fine. But I'm going to take that one back out. I'm going to put this one back in, and I'm going to remove the blaster for now. What about the rest of this guy? We'll call this the stock position. We have a head that can go left, right, up, down. We have arms, they can go all the way around. We can butterfly them out a little bit. They can go well out to the side. We have 90-degree elbow. We have wrist rotation. The wrist can come forward on a clicky ratchet. By the way, the actual Perfect Effect version does have a ratchet at the wrist. It is a softer ratchet, but it is there. Getting the arms out of the way, we have waist rotation. We have Full splits out to the side, little looser than the actual perfect effect. As you can see, they're sort of falling a bit there, but not loose. Like it seems like it, but it's really not loose. Like it's nothing I feel like I need to fix with the floor polish fix or any other sort of fix. Like they're fine for posing. They'll hold just fine. The legs can go well forward. They hold well back and they hold. We have over 90 degrees at the knee. We have, do we have a thigh swivel? I'm not detecting a thigh swivel, but I feel like there's a cut that, there is a thigh swivel. It's a tight mushroom. The thigh swivel on the actual perfect effect is a bit nicer, but this does have it. We have toe tilt, I guess, which is nice. And we have a very tight, but it's there. Ooh. We have a very tight ab crunch. It's there. The ab crunch on the actual perfect effect one is nicer. That being said, I said that the perfect effect had an articulation of 9.75. It was pretty much perfect. About the only thing more that I could want would be maybe articulated fingers, although we do have the open palm hand, so maybe that fills that bill. This guy, I'd say, is more like a 9.5. It's close to as good as the perfect effect. In fact, certain joints like those lovely wrist ratchets are even better, but then we have a couple of joints like the ab crunch that is so tight that I really will probably never ever use it. The thigh swivel is really a little bit too tight. Very minor tolerance issues, and perhaps it'll vary copy to copy, but it's worth noting that they are there, at least when I compare my official version to this. I would say the official is just ever so slightly better articulated, only because of tolerances. The transformation, well, I'm not gonna kind of talk about that yet, but I'll say this. The transformation for PC-17 was also a 9.75, I said. In fact, I said that across the board PC-16 was a 9.75. Right now, this guy is about a 9.6, 9.65. Also, just to give you an idea of size, here he is next to my other KBB figure, that being Nemesis Prime. And I'll say this now, the Age of Extinction Nemesis Prime KO here is your typical Voyager size, or what used to be your typical Voyager size. If you know that Age of Extinction Optimus Prime mold, then you know the size of this exactly. It is the exact same size. So you can see that this upgrade is basically a large deluxe, maybe a really small Voyager. You know, it's sort of between Deluxe and Voyager, or traditional Deluxe and Voyager. I say that because if you compare it to Siege, it's probably a pretty good Voyager. Now, the only score we have left to give is transformation, and I haven't done it yet because we aren't done with the transformation. I took him back here to truck mode because we didn't need to see the conversion back. The very first thing is the installation of Magnus's head. I already explained how you take out the screw, put the two pieces together, and put it on this red piece. Well, you would come here and kind of separate the front bumper. You will open up this entire section, flip this up, there's a gray piece right here. This slots into that gray piece rather snugly, but once it's in there, up, down, left, right movement for Magnus, and we can tuck the head back in and close all of this up. When we want to go to truck mode, I will just show that now. See how it closes over just fine. Put that down. You could, of course, put, you know, these pieces back up, the bumper pieces back up, everything would be perfect. That being said, we don't want to leave him as a truck, do we? No, we actually want to get him prepared to go into his bigger armor. So we're going to actually take the head and bring it up, and we will then close the chest section up here and here again. I will note here on the KO that the head is a little bit loose. The head adapter for the Optimus Prime head, or I guess the Perfect Effect Optimus Prime head that comes with PC-17 is just plain better. That being said, I'm glad that we didn't have to spring for a whole new head here and we can use the stock one. I'm sure that on the actual Perfect Effect version, that head probably works a little bit better. The tolerance is probably a little bit better. It's not bad here, but it is a little more wiggly than I'd like. That being said, we untab the whole kind of, I guess, waist section here, and we rotate this around, bring this down on the back, and again, as we have seen before with PC-16 and Optimus Prime, this guy is now ready to go slotted into position. To slot him into position, this whole piece will go down kind of into the main chest cavity, and the legs will go around the back. There is a hole that I pointed out earlier up right here. That will go over the red peg that we usually use as the tow hitch. And because that trailer hitch fits in there, it helps to give this a more, I guess, solid connection overall. And here, of course, we have the trailer back in the, like, load-bearing form, I suppose. You'll notice that on the shoulder I have a Repro Label Autobot symbol because the stock Autobot symbol is on the chest. And of course, we're replacing the chest. We take the new piece and we just slot it into position and it angles up. You'll notice that right now it seems like it's kind of too short. You would leave it collapsed when going to vehicle mode so that it can kind of store down where the original chest piece stored down. I don't find on the KO that it stores down there very well. Actually, it doesn't really fit, but I don't really care because it's sort of down in that lower section and you don't see it in truck mode anyway. For this mode, you should extend it out. And we can sort of just leave that down for now because we're going to bring in our new Magnus and we're going to slot that on the back. You see it down front here. We bring this up and we have two little notches on the side that go over the red tabs here and here. It is a snug fit. But there you go. Once you have it on, you have it on. And I think that this looks tremendous. I think it looks so close to the animation. Granted, we still have windows up here in the chest. They should be red if we're being animation accurate. But we do have the little silver, I guess, headlights they are down here. Maybe fog lamps down there. That's on the animation. We have more red in the general torso. Here's the thing that I find the most interesting. I was concerned because of this dark red. And it does stand out even here now on camera and look a little bit gaudy. But here's the thing. The bright red on the truck, on the new chest piece, on these missile pieces, and the red plastic all pretty much matches and is the exact same red. The darker red matches nicely with the kind of red of the Takara, really. And I don't mind it here. It looks kind of bad on camera. It doesn't look bad in hand at all. Why they didn't just use all the same red, I don't know. Then we come to the blue. And what we have here in the center cross section is kind of a darker blue than what we have out on the sides. What we have out on the sides is pretty much an exact match for the blue of the Combiner Wars. What we have in the center is pretty much an exact match for the blue of the Takara one. And again, in pictures and maybe even now to you here on film, like, it might look but in hand, no, it looks tremendous. Now, that being said, the conversion is super duper easy here. The articulation on Magnus now is exactly the same as it always was. Nothing has changed, nothing is hindered. I'm going to say overall the articulation is a 9.75 for the base figure. Here's the thing. The base figure, just as that like white Ultra Magnus, it's easily a 9.65. The actual perfect effect is slightly better at maybe a 9.75. Both are almost perfect toys. They're fantastic and they're fun and they feel good. The plastic feels of good quality. In fact, the plastic on the KO feels better than the plastic on the official. And indeed, we weighed them and it's a little bit thicker. In terms of the effect that it has here on Ultra Magnus all combined up, nothing on the transformation really, because it's pretty much the same transformation that it always was, except now the trailer and the cab can become detached from one another. The articulation, exactly the same. The functionality, exactly the same, but the aesthetics are improved. I would say in terms of an animation accurate Ultra Magnus right now, this stands at about a solid 9 to a 9.25. It's really close to the animation in both modes. That being said, there's an argument to be made for whether or not you decide to keep this guy, especially if you get an upgrade like this, or the Siege one. And I'm just going to kind of show you guys a sort of a side-by-side comparison of them with the animation, and let you sort of draw your own conclusion from that.
And if we look at the Siege one here, I still feel like it embodies the toy better. There's a lot of extra blue on the chest, which is true to the toy. When we look at the Combiner Wars one with the upgrade kit, compared to the animation here, I just feel like it's that much more accurate. But, you know, that's just me. What do you guys think?
And here we are once again, and all I can say is, man, you do you in your life and I will do me, because I don't think there's a way to make this more perfect outside of getting the X2 Toys XT009 upgrade kit. That offers a few extra pieces. I would love to be able to find that kit. I can't find it anywhere. It kind of would give me the finishing touches on this guy to make him pretty much my perfect iteration of Ultra Magnus. At this point, I would say that this is what works for me. I understand that a lot of people have chosen the Siege Ultra Magnus as their Chug Ultra Magnus, so to speak, or their generations at least Ultra Magnus, and that makes perfect sense. I get the argument for it. I love the size of it. I love the look of it, especially if you're into kind of toy accurate aesthetics. I just can't get behind that alt mode for it. That's the only thing for me that makes it not work for me, which means I'm kind of still stuck with this guy, at least for now. And since I am, I wanted to try and make him as perfect as I could, and until I can find that X2 Toys upgrade, he's about as perfect as he's gonna get. Is the KO as good as the actual one? It's close, real close, but it's not quite there. Pegging on the chest is a little more challenging than I'd like for it to be. The couple of tolerance issues with joints on the kind of white figure, it's not a big deal, but it's worth noting. If you can get the actual perfect effect, yeah, probably go for it. But if you're okay with it being a little bit less than perfect, then maybe the KO will fill the bill for you just as it does for me. Anyway, I think he's a win. I think the actual figure is a win. Whether you go with the real or the KO, they're both a win. It's just that the real one is a little bit more of a win. Anyway, let me know what you think about this iteration of Ultra Magnus and which one you've chosen to be your Ultra Magnus. You know I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you dropping by, giving me some of your very valuable time. I know how important it is to you, and I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.